I never believed in ghosts. I always thought they were just stories people told to scare each other. But after what happened last night, I'm not so sure anymore. I recently moved into an old house in a quiet town. It was a great buy, and I couldn't pass up such an opportunity. The previous owners left in a hurry, which should have been my first suspicious sign. They left a lot of their stuff behind, including an old, ornate mirror in the basement. I decided to clean the basement last night. I've been avoiding it since I moved in because it always gives me the creeps. The mirror was covered with a dusty sheet with some kind of incomprehensible sign painted on it in red. When I took it off, I felt a shiver run down my spine. The glass was cloudy and warped, but I could still see my reflection. I turned away to start unpacking the boxes when I heard a faint whisper. At first I thought it was just the wind, but then I realized it was coming from the mirror. I turned around and saw my reflection, but something was wrong. My reflection was smiling, but I wasn't. I blinked and rubbed my eyes, thinking it was just my imagination. When I looked again, my reflection was back to normal. I decided I was just tired and went to bed, but I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps and some laughter. They were coming from the basement. My heart was pounding, but I forced myself to get up and check. I grabbed a flashlight and slowly walked downstairs. The mirror was glowing. The reflection in the mirror was not mine. It was a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothes, with empty eyes and an ominous smile. She whispered, "Help me." I recoil, my flashlight flickering. The woman's hand reached out from the mirror, clawing at the air. I turned and ran up the stairs, slamming the door behind me. I sat in my room, locked the door tightly, and listened to the sounds coming from the basement. The clock was ticking, and the fear was only growing. I tried to understand what had happened, but every movement in the basement only increased my anxiety. In the morning, I tried to find a rational explanation for what was happening. I checked if the mirror could be some kind of ancient object with a history that could explain the events. I made a few calls and found out that the house did indeed have a strange reputation. The previous owners allegedly experienced something similar, but did not disclose the details before selling it. Not knowing what to do, I decided to seek help from paranormal experts. Soon the team arrived at the house, and we went down to the basement again. I showed them the mirror, and they began to investigate. At the same time, I began to notice that strange events were happening in other parts of the house. Switches turned on and off by themselves, and shadows began to appear in the dark corners of the room. And suddenly I remembered about that dusty sheet that was covering the mirror when I found it. Having gone down to the basement, I decided to cover the mirror with that same sheet. At that moment, a strong wind blew in my face, and a wild roar coming from the mirror made my body soft and weak. I still managed to throw the sheet over myself, and everything went quiet in that very second. A team of specialists discovered that the mirror could be a portal connecting our world with something sinister. They explained that sometimes such objects attract negative energies that can manifest as ghosts or spiritual entities. We decided to immediately remove the mirror from the house. After it was taken out, all the strange phenomena stopped, but the feeling of anxiety and horror did not leave me for a long time. I stayed in this house for a couple more days, but every night I woke up in a cold sweat, expecting that something could happen again. When I left the house in the state in which I found it. I haven't gone back there, and I try not to think about that horrible incident. I never thought I could encounter something so inexplicable, and the experience changed my perception of reality. If you ever encounter something like this, Remember that sometimes it's better to avoid antiques. Some things really are best left alone.